What up, YouTube? It's the Nice and here back with another video. This gonna be the chapter of the fifth. I forgot I didn't even have that on. Hope all's well with everybody. Gotta put this new password in. I'm hungry as hell. I need to eat some. I might eat some after this. I've ate all day. All right, we are back in business, and penny for his hands. When on the top can't stop revenge. That be dread like a Rasta man. All right, the fifth law: how to use the magic of the beguiling statement. Once your overwhelming gaze has filled Jack or Jane with faith and confidence in you, and you're ready to take the next important step towards practical and profitable mental domination. The fifth law, how to use the magic of the beguiling statement, is the law that you need now. You have to proceed further and converse with the subject, or even company with them if you want to enjoy popularity. Popularity is not a one-person affair. It takes two persons to make a popularity possible. To enjoy its fruits, you have to attract one or more individuals to you, engage in some sort of social business life. All you gain from these laws so far in popularity potential. The necessity of the beguiling statement: no matter how hard you hold over Jack or Jane with what you learned so far in the laws of mental domination, you can lose it in a flash by saying the wrong thing. Nothing can hurt his or her feelings more than a wrong statement coming from someone who he or she suddenly trusts. This is why you will now study the fifth law: how the beguiling statement affects others. Saying the right thing to people lifts their spirits and fills them with joy. At last, they feel somebody appreciates them with just as they are. At last, somebody understands them through and through and values them for what they are worth. You have probed into their inner sanctums, and they accept you like a dearly loved relative. They long to have you around all the time. Everyone is sick and tired of brusque, cold-shouldered attitude that greets them from petty people everywhere. When a person meets someone who knows what to say to him, he is dumbstruck. He would do anything in the world to keep that person around. The beguiling statement is perhaps the shortest and quickest way to popularity. The 8 secrets of the beguiling statement. It's impossible to list everything you ought to say to someone to bring them or keep them under your domination. must depend on your sex, your native character, your situation itself. The beguiling statement varies from each situation. Even if it did not, you will only waste your time memorizing stock phrases and sentences to repeat to others at appropriate times. Everybody's on guard against the hypocrite, and the hypocrite uses stock phrases. Applying certain secrets don't always produces the beguiling statement from you to utter. You therefore need to memorize no stock phrases, practice and master these secrets. After you, therefore you will never have to worry about saying the right things to people. Here are the secrets. Secret one: the magic of the selective statement. Make positive statements to Jagger Jane which emphasize his or her good qualities and overlook the bad ones. Should he hiss or snort at point of the deficiencies, don't agree with him. Do it in a natural tone of voice, but don't go too far and embarrass him with the obvious statements to overpraise him. Be alert and detect disfavorable traits and readily point them out to him. Secret 2: the fatal effects of long silence. Unless you two are relatives or old friends, your mutual interests and romantic, don't let long silences ruin your conversation. Long silences disrupt the ideal rapport that is being created between you and the conversation, and let your mind fill with the ideal rapport that's being created between you by the conversation, and let your mind fill with introspection about him, some of which he might sense if it does not flatter him. Long silences also allow him to escape from your growing mental domination. The secret shrewdness of encouraging the other to do the most of talking. Encouraging Jack or Jane to do most of the talking. To achieve this, ask him or her questions about subjects of the matter that he or she knows something about. Appear in short to put yourself in the intellectual depth. Don't pepper him with probing questions about the salary or occupation. Let him divulge such information voluntarily. Instead of asking a mechanic how much he earns, ask him what model car would he advise you to buy this year, and his reason why. Such a question makes him feel wise and important. It provides him with a thrilling opportunity to inform you about something which you don't know much about, and about which he knows considerably about. If you have to expose his ignorance of the subject under discussion in order to sway him to your way of thinking, don't look him in the eye and bombard him with shared logic. Tell him rather than you know someone who thinks so and so in the subject. Then describe the person's ignorance exactly as the mechanic. This will enable him to save face, and he will not feel bitter towards you. The attentive the attentive look. When Jack or Jane address you in a group, don't look distant and passive. Respond with the overwhelming gaze and nod to him and indicate agreement. Let him enjoy the thrill of being listened to attentively. Don't overdo it, of course. Don't roar every time he cracks a poor joke, but act warm-heartedly and drop encouraging words or two for him whenever opportunity presents itself. Do not act peculiar, mystifying, or dispiriting. The secret 5: futility of praise sabotage. Don't try to hide praise of Jack or Jane when praise is due. Blurt it out right out, even if you secretly envy him. Jack will sense your secret envy and try to conceal it. Praising someone detracts nothing from your own qualities. It also leads to others, including Jack, to accept you as a clean sport. It helps to conserve your mind power by freeing your system. Most of your envy towards that person, thus neutralizing your aura, drawing them to you. It takes you out of the prison of being just you, pinning away in a morbid introspection. How to establish idea rapport quickly. Converse kindly with your associate. Urge Jack to carry through any sensible personal ambitions he reveals. Forget about your own personal ambitions. Jack longs to talk about himself, not about you. If he is handsome, don't withhold that praise from him. If you are afraid it will go to his head. My bitch, I was getting kind of hot here. I'm sorry. Think about, oh my God, this nigga. But no, yeah. So yeah, why would he be? Why has he been good looking from childhood? He suspects envy from those who don't call him that now. Don't be stinting from with praise either. Also, although praising the obvious is better than not praising at all, try to praise, if possible, something more striking and unusual than rarely meets your eye. This delights him more than the usual praise from others. You don't have to praise him for the rest of the conversation, but you should be sure to praise him early enough and establish ideal rapport as soon as possible. Satisfaction with which such praise fills him neutralizes his aura. It welcomes your and it welcomes yours. His whole physical being will feel better for it. The safety of one-time praising. Don't undermine your efforts, although by praising Jack or Jane before the eyes of Tony, whom you might just praise. Tony will see you as a hypocrite. Praise each individual only when you are alone with them. Praising him before others, unless they are his big proud parents, wound their feelings if they lack his blessings. By praising each other separately and alone, you mentally dominate each person further and alienate none. But don't repeat the identical phrase, praise to each other and everyone. Praise each individual for something unique and different about himself. At the end of this law, you will find the listing of the 12 things which all men and 13 things which all women like to hear about themselves. The discreet and indirect praise. Don't wander from person to person, either purposely praising each and every one of them, instead of always praising directly to such as calling them foul or good-looking. Praise him more frequently during the conversation. Like say that, for instance, when a handsome person like you says step into law or politics, he possesses an initial advantage over his rivals. This is a subtle praise. It does not sound designing. The more impersonal and spontaneous your praise seems, the better. It should never suggest a tricky premeditation. Direct praise is the most effective with children and subordinates. Indirect praise fails with these. The courted female too looks for bold, outright praise. Subtle praise is most effective with individuals of your own sex and position. All right, now this is just the kind phrase people like to hear about themselves. Uh, what all men like to hear about themselves. A man likes to be told that he has broad shoulders, that he is tall. If he is short and subject is broached, tell him that you thought he was about 3 inches taller than he confesses to be. If he is too tall and narrow, tell him that he is surprisingly broad-shouldered for a tall man. That he is very intelligent, that he has a fair, logical mind, that he is a sensible philosopher, that he is remarkable when informed in a wide variety of subjects, that he looks imposing and dignified, that he has a commanding carriage, that he possesses a remarkable wit, that he looks and acts like a wealthy man, that he looks as if he has his way with women, that he looks very brave and courageous. All these attributes need to be handed out to the same man, since all of them might not apply to him. Use with each man those that best suit him. Praise him and nothing else, and you will not fail to impress each and every man you meet. What all women like to hear about themselves. That she is at least 3 to 20 years younger than she is. Start from 1990. This is so informative, but it shows you how to really. I think this book is like side, as like a seduction book in a way, right? It's like, of course, it's more about. It's speaking about like psychic seduction and how to use your mental capacity to really win people over, and it's very informative, and I like it. My bad, I forgot where I was going. That you thought she was her daughter's sister. Her daughter's sister. That her complexion is smooth and glowing as a teenager's. That her face and body are sexy looking. That her feet are small and her legs are shapely. That she has beautiful insteps. That she wears her clothes like a movie actress or fashion model, If you name the actress like the young glamorous one, even if the lady herself is middle-aged, prude, or even older, that her cooking has no competition anywhere, that would be no fortune if she opened a restaurant. Tell her this even if her chicken is stuffed in shoe leather. That is silly. Blame the butcher if you have to acknowledge the fact that it's meant is too tender, but also praise the lady's cooking. That her housekeeping is remarkable. That her furnishing and home materials shows artistic taste and encourage her discomfort. It will encourage her comfort. That her voice is very pretty. Her hands looks like a girl's. That's weird. I wouldn't say that. I don't know if anybody would say that, but I wouldn't. I don't know. Like a little girl, that just sound. Say that it looks feminine. I think feminine is more. Or just soft. I think it's just leaving it simple as that. Like it just looks soft. It's very, standard, but it's understandable. And it's not like a little girl. It sounds like, you'd be looking at a little girl's hands. That just sounds weird. And the 13, that if you were an artist, you would beg for the privilege of sketching her in her bikini. Tell her this even if she weighs 200 pounds. If she scoffs her size, reply that she has a voluptuous curves. Reread the law carefully and apply the different steps. No exercise. Well, no exercise are necessary, but apply the steps in everyday life. For everybody you meet before the day is over, you will have astonished at how popularity has grown. You might be a little awkward at first. Everyone is awkward when first using that to which he is not accustomed. You will soon lose that feeling, and a new life will open up for you. Memorize the things which all men and women like to hear about themselves. You will find them in open sesame to instant popularity. All right, that was the end of the chapter. I'm tired of it and I'm hungry. But no, that chapter, I like that chapter. It's a very good chapter. I think that a lot of people, especially with growing with and understanding and getting better at communicating, understanding the beguiling statements will help you a lot. I think that just with my own personal things, just growing up and being able to speak with people, I'm very shy. And I always, like I said, I think everybody had like this self-conscious thing with them. Well, most people, like I said, you look at things, you may be too shy to ask, or I see it commonly with women and stuff like that. My girlfriend be like, was watching her, just look at like other women. Let's say a woman got something nice on, like she's very quick to compliment, and she's not quick to compliment. She's like very hesitant to compliment at first, and it's very interesting. Like to see like women compliment each other. Now, of course, I'm about to say, not saying like men don't do it, like I said, but it's very subtle. Like I said, you wouldn't really pick it up if you ever just seen two men compliment each other. Like I compliment like a dude, like let's say I was at work one day, I'm just listening to some cryptocurrency stuff, just trying to expand my knowledge on it. And the dude he basically gave me a compliment. He's like, that's smart. It's like it make you feel better about yourself. In a way, it kind of like boosts your self-esteem when people talk to you in that way, where they like, oh yeah, well, in the men regard, because like I said, when he said I was smart and I'm very like being very intuitive and just looking ahead to see what the future may have to come, like may have to offer, it made me feel better, that it made me feel good that I was on the right path and on the right way of doing things. And that's one of the beguiling statements, is telling them that that you're intelligent. You give props where it's due. It's like you're giving praise. And of course, with this book, it shows the overall intent of this book is how to dominate people mentally. But of course, on a regular day, or just like a regular person, like a regular old head, just giving this props to a young dude like me, it's not really any ill intent. It's really just him being a loving individual and just spreading love. I think one way of people spreading the love is through knowledge and compliments, right? And especially like the young men now, like I said, a lot of young men don't get complimented. They just get chastised and chastised. Growing up, all I did really get was chastised. So, just that's just one side of the beguiling statement that may, of course, that's like an indirect benefit of it. You're really helping people and you boost people's self-esteem or just make people feel better about themselves indirectly. Now, of course, I was just reading them statements, it's messed up how some of them is like they directly like telling you like to lie. But I mean, realistically, it's a double-edged sword with that. Like I said, I ain't gonna have no opinion on that. But yeah, if y'all like this chapter, stay tuned for the next one, and I appreciate y'all.